because there are a list of 6, if I have counted right, that is listed under my name that will bring a word. We have decided that 3 minutes will have to be the limit. Now, it's a hard thing to turn a preacher loose and say, you got 3 minutes. But we're going to try it. And then after that, we want you. When I say you, that means you. Whoever you may be, who would like to just come and share from your heart to our heart. That's what this meeting is all about. I can't tell you how thrilled and how excited I am that we're here this evening. And I believe more than ever in that verse of Scripture that says that all things work together for good to those that love the Lord. Now, I don't understand it, but I know it works. And that's why we're here this evening. There is one group of people, however, that Brother Bob did not recognize, and I want to do that this time because I've heard it said that behind every man there's a great woman. Amen? That's kind of feeble. But if you've not met my wife, let me stand up just for a moment. She's been my wife. I tell you, she's been to more places and been to more World Missions Conferences than I ever dreamed about. Because at times that I could not go, she was ready. All she had to be was just given a call, and she had her bags packed already. And she went to a lot of different places over the country and spoke every chance she had an opportunity. Now, Brother Bob also recognized a lot of men, but I believe every man here whose name was mentioned, almost, his wife is here. And I want to ask you something. If you're here tonight, and your husband's name was mentioned, and you are his wife, would you stand? Would you stand if you are a wife of a person who was mentioned? I'm trying to be co-partners here, or co-laborers, I believe it's called. But you can tell I'm excited because there's so many things that I'd like to say. But one thing that I want you to have, if you do not already have it, is kind of a memento, a brochure. We reproduced them and brought them so that you might have something to carry home with you. Now, I saw them stacked out on the table. You may not have seen them as you came in. Please take one home with you. And I'm sure they'll be out on the table tomorrow at the rally. But we want you to see that picture that was made on that first Sunday, September the 17th, 1964. Now, I want you to notice that handsome young man there. Look how tall and slim he is. That's not you, Larshawn. But this was a great, momentous occasion. But it'll almost be, almost 24 years ago, pretty soon now. The first anniversary of the church was my first Sunday there as the first full-time pastor. Now, on the inside, if you'll notice that was the services inside. You'll also notice how old Mrs. Bacon was at that time. Jane Haire, sitting at the piano. But these are some pictures that have meant a lot to us through the years. And of course, the 4th anniversary, a bulletin you will want to read, and then of course a brochure that we gave out to anybody who would take it. I hope you read it. But you'll notice some very famous pictures on the back. If you've not read it, I hope that you will, because that's a part of what's been happening over these 25 years at Monmouth Baptist Church. Now, in just a moment, Bob, without any further introduction, if your name appears under my name here, I hope that you will come and bring your watch and take about 3 minutes and just share from, as I said, from your heart to our heart. Now, of course, I'm going to take about 3 minutes. That was just my introduction. Now, wait a minute. I brought a whole bag full. I wanted to show you something. First of all, somebody said, looks like you got your office with you. I said, no, that's just my Monmouth Baptist Church offering. This is the office for my cards and my file for Monmouth Baptist Church, and of course, all that goes along with it. But in my hands, I wish you knew the people that I know, and many of you are here tonight. I have not done much corresponding in these last several years, but I had tried to keep up with you, and I heard from some of you at Christmas, and every chance I had to talk with people who perhaps knew somebody, we'd always reminisce with them. But in this group of cards, I'm sure that most of your names are, that is especially if you're out of town. Now, I've got a lot of people that I do not know, and I'm thrilled with this opportunity. But to show you also that there are a lot of lost sheep. These are the return letters. Out of the 150 to 200 letters that I mailed, these have been returned, and we cannot find these people all the way from Massachusetts to California, to Houston, Texas, to Kansas City, Missouri, Fort Worth, Texas, Merritt Island, Florida, Bakersfield, California, Vidale, California, North Augusta, South Carolina, and on and on. So you can see that our church family has not only grown, but it has spread. And I tell you what, if all of the young people that got married in Monmouth when we were there have had the families that I have been in touch with, they are a wonderful group. All the way from 1 child to 6. We've got a new generation coming up. I believe Mike and Sandy Dimsco in Marshall, Texas, have the record on the number of children that they have in their family. They've got 6. And we know so much that they do tonight. But David Shackelford and his wife are here. They've got 4 children. David Creasy, them to have 4. And we're not adding them up. But this, to me, is a great thrill and a joy. And I don't want to forget my speech. Now, this is my 3 minutes. Not really. But these are some things that I want to say briefly, because tomorrow afternoon I will have a chance to share with you. But you remember when Jesus took the bread and broke it and poured the fruit of the vine and blessed it, and he said, take, eat, take, drink, do this in remembrance of me. I believe that it's important that we do things in remembrance. You have been reminded, as I have been reminded, that you can't live in the past. We know that. But someone has said, he who preserves not his history soon has no history to preserve. So actually, I suppose this is what we're doing, is trying to preserve the history of Monmouth Baptist Church. And what a thrill it has been tonight. But as I try to remember, this we do in remembrance of a few things. First of all, I'd like to say, when I think of the days that we spent at Monmouth, I think of the wonderful families that came and went. Some of the most wonderful families that I ever knew, I believe, were at Monmouth Baptist Church. And we have kept up with some of them through the years. Some of them we've lost trace of. We don't know where they live. But these families, of course, have grown. Their children have got married. They've got grandchildren, and now that some of the children have children. So that tells you how much time passes on. I'd like to think also in remembrance of all the young couples. In one of the letters that were written to go in the Book of Memories, they accused me of being Cupid and matchmaking and things like that. I never did that. I just brought young people together, and they did what was natural. They became interested in each other, and they fell in love, and they got married. And I could go down the list, including Garland Bacon and Jane Haire, and some others that you might know if I call their name. But the list is endless almost. And I'm very proud of these young people who've grown up, and they got married, and now they have children. And when I think about the young people, of course, and look through these cards, I find about 10 who are now pastoring churches, Dr. Pugh, young people who have gone on to fulfill their dreams. And I think one of the things that I was most proud of was the fact that during the Vietnamese crisis, we licensed 10 young men to preach the gospel. We commissioned 185 young men to go overseas as appointed missionaries of Monmouth Baptist Church. We took cue from the Home Mission Board and the Foreign Mission Board, of course, and we had certificates printed. And one letter that I have always appreciated was from a young man who wrote and said, Pastor Haire, I want to thank you for commissioning me as a missionary to foreign missions, because this is true of mission field. He says, I have my certificate on the back of my locker, and when I open it up, I see it. Every day it reminds me that I have been appointed a missionary to the glory of God. And so many things were accomplished in those days. Of course, I could go on, but as I go through the cards, as I read the letters, and I listen to phone calls that I got, there were shattered dreams. Some of the young couples that I married were no longer married. And of course, that's life. And we pick up the pieces and we go on. We try to regroup and recoup and do the best we can. And God somehow brings it all out to His glory if we let it. But the thing that I remember most of all is the chapels that the church started and how they've grown and multiplied. Now they have chapels of their own. But many of us remember the day that we had to decide whether we would grow a super church or whether we would start new churches. And being very egotistical at times, I had my dreams on that super church that would be so dynamic and outgrowing. But the people had a voice, and we adopted the slogan of growing 10 churches from 10 chapels in 10 years. We didn't do that then. We did grow 5 churches from 5 chapels in 5 years, and we moved on to other fields of service. But now I understand that there are more than 10 congregations, chapels, churches in Monmouth County, so that we have to be grateful for. So you can see I have a lot of memories, but I'm sure that you have memories too. And those whose names appear on the program are going to come and share with us at this time the names as they're listed.
Well, 3 minutes is not enough time to remember my name, let alone everything else I want to share. We have 5 missions. None of the mission pastors are here, so I'm taking their 3 minutes. The Monmouth Baptist Church was the sponsor of this congregation, and I believe we were the first congregation under the auspices of that congregation. Later came Asbury Park Trench and West Monmouth Church. And I want to tell you what I remember. My first remembrance of Monmouth Baptist Church is Jesse Dilday. Jesse Dilday called my house in Louisiana 9,000 times during the period of time that we were considering coming here as a mission pastor. And he had a watch line up at the Hess building. He'd call anytime he wanted to, and he'd call my wife, and he'd say, "Are you sure you want to come to New Jersey? Why do you want to come to New Jersey?" And, you know, it was an interesting. The second thing I remember was a map of Monmouth County in Marvin's office, and I would have sworn that he played darts with it all the time because it had little holes all over it. But it really wasn't. It was a part of the dream. For in that office, a pin would be pushed into that map saying, "We need to start a mission here. We need to start a mission here. We need to start a mission here." And I remember seeing that Monmouth County map. I still have a similar map, and it's got the same amount of holes in it in my office. And I remember Beatty Bartell and Bud Beaupre and a few other of the renegade members of the missions committee of Monmouth Baptist Church who sat in a crowded office when I came to interview to be a part of the mission ministry and a part of the mission team. And I will never forget the warmth and the enthusiasm and the sense of mission and purpose that was born in the Monmouth Church. Those genes were transplanted here because as a result of this church having been planted, we now sponsor and have we have a co-sponsorship with our daughter, Monmouth Coast Baptist Church, in the Howell Chapel. We share mutually in that ministry, and this congregation has under its auspices the Asian Indian Ministry with fellowships in English, Telugu, and Hindi. We also sponsor the Freehold Spanish congregation, a Spanish ministry in Freehold using the facilities of the First Presbyterian Church. At 5 o'clock every Sunday afternoon, you may worship here in Arabic. At 1 o'clock every Sunday afternoon, you may worship here in Korean. At 11 o'clock, starting tomorrow, you may worship in the White Building in Tagalog, which is a Philippine language. So this congregation has 5 active language mission ministries. The Philippine ministry presently operates 4 Bible studies in the county. And we have a shepherding relationship with the Monmouth Chinese Christian community. Now, they are an independent church. They're just Baptist and don't know it. And I asked them, I said, what do you have to do to get to heaven? They said, you must be born again. I said, all right, that's very good. And I said, what is the authority for your church? Well, they said the Bible. I said, all right, that's pretty good. And I said, who rules the church? And they said, Jesus Christ. I said, that's great, that's good. And I said, now, let me ask you one critical question. How are people baptized in your church? Said, must be immersed. Finally, I said, you're a Baptist and you just don't know it. So we entertain them. They use our facility for many activities, baptisms and other things. And who knows, one of these days they may join us. Now, I want to, we talk about the history. All of us could stay here for hour upon hour talking about the history. And the memories are vivid and sweet and wonderful. And when I conceived of coming here way back in 1968, it was but a dream. The Home Mission Board and Monmouth Church coalesced in bringing us in. And there's never been a moment's question in my mind of what that was the will of God. Then and now. I served this congregation until 1971. Moved away to serve on the State Convention staff for almost 10 years, and then followed that with a tour of duty at American Bible Society. And then in 1982, I came back here as the interrupting pastor. And in February of 1983, they decided they'd give me a chance to come back and get it right. So here I have been since 1983. Now, let me give you some interesting things, and then I'm out of here. No county in the Baptist Convention of New York has more churches in it than Monmouth County. That is a significant moment to remember. 3 of the congregations in this county are in the top 25 incorporating program giving. 2 of them in the top 10. The corporate membership of all of the churches now operating in Monmouth County is just a little over 1,100. The corporate income of all of the churches operating in Monmouth County is just a little shy of $700,000, which is almost 4 times the budget of Baptist Convention of New York when we constituted in 1969. That is the BCNY part of the budget. And in this county, 2 of its congregations are in the top 5 in baptisms in the association. 2 of the congregations are in the top 5 in contributions through the Light Moon Christmas offering and the Annie Armstrong Easter offering for home mission. This congregation leads the state convention in cooperating program, Light Moon Christmas offering, Annie Armstrong Easter offering gifts for this past year, plus its participation in the development of mission ministries. And for this, we're very, very grateful and delighted to have a small part. With the exception of 2 Haitian churches, 1 Chinese church, and 2 black congregations, 2 of the largest congregations in the Metropolitan Association are in this county. Now that's worth remembering because it is those memories that have brought us to this point. Bob, I don't know when it's right to do it, but come and let me give you a little... Where are you, Bob? Did you leave? He doesn't want any more money? Hey, no problem. The Calvary Baptist Church has authorized me to present you a letter and a check. You don't have time to read the letter, but it's a gift of $1,000 from this congregation, and the check is for $250. The other 3 installments will come in succeeding months, but the ultimate bottom line